The Bible informs us that there was an essential difference in the manner and the purpose of the creation of the two sexes. The New Testament reiterates that there are basic differences between men and women that are to be honored as part of God's design. By refusing to honor these differences, or by defiantly shaking our fists at God and saying, "It cannot be so," we define or we claim the right to name for ourselves. We take authority into our own hands. Naming is a right which belongs to God. It is God who made the earth and created mankind upon it, and we have no right to question the wisdom of his directives for our behavior. God spoke through Isaiah, "Woe to him who quarrels with his maker, to him who is but a potsherd, to a broken piece," that's a broken piece of pottery, "among the potsherds on the ground." Does the clay say to the potter, "What are you making?" Does your work say he has no hands? Concerning things to come, do you question me about my children? Or do you give me orders about the work of my hands? It is I who made the earth and created mankind upon it. Isaiah 45, 10-12. Paul repeats the admonition in Romans. "But who are you, O man, to talk back to God? Shall what is formed say to him who formed it, 'Why did you make me this way?' Does not the potter have the right to make out of the same clay some pottery for noble purposes and some for common use?" Romans 9, 20-21. The Creator fashioned the two sexes differently, and this is a fact that we dare not overlook or trivialize. In 1 Corinthians 11, 9, 12, we are told that the man did not come from the woman, but the woman from the man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman for man. Furthermore, the woman is not independent of man, nor is man independent of woman. For as the woman came from man, so also man is born of woman, but everything comes from God. Very unpopular to read these scriptures nowadays, isn't it? Very unpopular. But I am crazy enough to believe that God knew what he was doing, and what he was doing was good. Indeed, it was very good. Our identity as male and female is important. As John Piper says, it speaks to the glory of God. Who I am as a woman and who I am in relationship to my husband, how I relate, people should look and say, "Wow, I see Jesus." And women, I believe that God's instructions for us in his word are not only right, they are also good and pleasant and desirable. And our problem is we come and try and present a whole list of do's and don'ts, and we don't capture women's heart for the beauty of the vision of what womanhood is all about. And it's our only hope for wholeness to understand that our whole purpose is to live for the glory of God. So what's the answer to the question feminism posed almost 50 years ago? It was a spiritual question. The whole question of, well, what's going to bring women happiness and fulfillment and joy in life? So do we reel the clock back, go back to the 1950s? Is it true that woman will only find satisfaction when she's a mom and a wife and has a station wagon and a white picket fence? Is that true? That's not true. There is no man on the face of this earth that is going to fill your needs and desires. We need to turn that desire to the right target. We were created with needs and desires in order to point us and to draw us and to lure us and entice us and make us fall in love with Him to whom those desires point. That is true. was 40 years ago that 200 women gathered in Chicago at the First National Women's Convention. There were only 200. And at that time, they instituted a program of consciousness raising, of speaking bitterness, of being angry and rebellious. 40 years later, and here I stand for an army that God has called. An army that knows it is not by might, not by power. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. They have divine power to demolish strongholds and bring evil to its knees. The Lord isn't so concerned about whether or not we're married, whether we're single. Those things ultimately are an outworking of His plan and purposes in our life. But what He is concerned about is that we have hearts that say yes to Him and that love Him and that are willing to be crazy enough to say what He has made is beautiful, and crazy enough to say selfless living, sacrificial living, laying down my life in emulation of the Christ I love is worth it. And in that, and in only in that, am I going to figure out the path to happiness and fulfillment. So women, what are you going to say yes to? Because we have been inundated with images. Every day it's in our face. What it is, the world's solution to our happiness, the world's solution to that problem, that yearning, that discontentment. Christ is the solution. Christ alone. And I want to stand before you, and I pray that you will stand as a woman who says, yes. Yes, Lord. May it be so. Amen. Nancy?